Good morning. It's Thursday, October 2nd. I'm Janine Herbst from NPR News, and here are today's top stories. Police are being deployed to synagogues across the UK after an attack on one in the city of Manchester in northern England. NPR's Lauren Freyer reports at least 2 people are dead, several others were injured in a car ramming and stabbing before the suspect was killed by police.
Manchester police say the attacker drove his car into a crowd outside the Heaton Park Hebrew Congregation Synagogue and stabbed one person before being shot by police. Manchester Mayor Andy Burnham notes the attack took place on Yom Kippur, one of the holiest days in the Jewish calendar.
It's obviously what we would all want to recognise is how people in our Jewish community will be feeling.
Burnham told the BBC the immediate danger is over, though. Prime Minister Keir Starmer posted on social media that he's appalled and that the timing of the attack on Yom Kippur makes it, quote, all the more horrific. He cut short a visit to Denmark and rushed home to chair an emergency meeting in response. Lauren Freyer, NPR News, London.
It's day 2 of the federal government shutdown. NPR's Mara Eliason says amid it, the White House is threatening to fire thousands of federal workers.
The president has said that a lot of good can come from shutdowns. He says he may use this shutdown, which he blames on Democrats, as an excuse to take, quote, irreversible actions, such as cutting programs Democrats like and trimming the budget to a level he couldn't do any other way. In past shutdowns, government workers have been furloughed, but then returned to work after the government reopens. This time, the White House is talking about permanent layoffs. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says no final decision about permanent layoffs has been made, but that, quote, we have to put a plan in place. Mara Eliason, NPR News, the White House.
Attorney General Pam Bondi says several people were arrested on the first day of a federal operation in Memphis, Tennessee. National Guard troops are mobilizing in the city under President Trump's orders, and Bondi says the Justice Department will do what it can to protect the agents.
And let me be very, very clear. I am a career prosecutor. If you touch a law enforcement officer, it is a crime and you are going to jail.
Bondi was in Memphis along with Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth and White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller to rally the federal troops. Bondi says the troops are expected to stay in the city for weeks, possibly months. Meanwhile, Oregon Governor Tina Kotek says Trump broke a promise to talk with her before sending National Guard troops to Portland. Troops have also been deployed to Los Angeles and Washington, D.C. so far this year to fight crime and enforce immigration laws. Famed British primatologist Jane Goodall has died. She was 91 years old. The institute she founded says she died from natural causes while she was on a speaking tour of the United States. She founded the Jane Goodall Institute in 1977 with offices around the world to better understand primates through public education and legal representation. Israel has intercepted aid flotilla of dozens of boats bound for Gaza as it got close to the enclave, boarding the vessels and detaining activists, including Greta Thunberg. The flotilla is trying to deliver much-needed aid to Gaza. UN spokesperson Stefan Dujarric says the UN is closely monitoring the situation and that the group welcomes advocacy in the humanitarian crisis.
We're obviously following the flotilla very closely. We do not want anyone to get hurt, and we want people's rights to be respected.
At least one of the 3 vessels taking part in the flotilla appear to still be sailing just off Gaza's coast this morning, according to the flotilla's online tracker. In a post on X, Israel's foreign ministry says several vessels were stopped and those on board were transferred to an Israeli port, saying they are all safe and healthy. Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook can keep her job at the central bank, at least for now. As NPR's Scott Horsley reports, the Supreme Court has agreed to hear oral arguments in Cook's case in January.
President Trump has been trying to fire Lisa Cook, pointing to allegations from a Trump ally that Cook made false statements on a mortgage application. Cook denies any wrongdoing. Her supporters say allowing Trump to oust a Fed governor would compromise the central bank's ability to set interest rates free from political interference. 2 lower courts have sided with Cook and blocked the president from removing her. The Supreme Court opted not to overturn those decisions, at least until it hears oral arguments early next year. Trump's been waging a high-pressure campaign to get the Fed to cut interest rates more aggressively. A group of former Fed officials and Treasury secretaries say the central bank works best when it's insulated from that kind of political pressure. Scott Horsley, NPR News, Washington.
In New York, at least one person was injured when two Delta regional jets collided on the taxiway of LaGuardia Airport last night. One was getting ready to take off while the other had just landed. The wing of one of the planes hit the other jet, damaging that wing in the nose, the windshield, and the fuselage of the other plane. Delta says it will work with authorities to determine what's happened. Hundreds of celebrities have relaunched a committee to defend free speech that was first formed during the post-World War II Red Scare. As NPR's Anastasia Silukas reports, the group is spearheaded by actor and activist Jane Fonda, whose father, Henry Fonda, stood against the Hollywood blacklists of the McCarthy era.
Pedro Pascal, Mark Ruffalo, Billie Eilish, and Spike Lee are among the nearly 600 entertainers to join the newly reformed Committee for the First Amendment. The group says the federal government is engaged in a, quote, coordinated campaign to silence critics in the government, the media, the judiciary, academia, and the entertainment industry. The Committee for the First Amendment first launched in the 1940s when the House Un-American Activities Committee accused many Hollywood actors and writers of being communists or communist sympathizers and derailed their careers. Other members of the newly reformed group include TV show creator Quinta Brunson, musicians Barbra Streisand and Janelle Monáe, and actors Anne Hathaway and Ben Stiller. Anastasia Silukas, NPR News, New York.
I'm Janine Herbst, and you're listening to NPR News from Washington.